Every organization on earth. What does the word attorney mean? Look it up in a legal dictionary. It says an actor to a turn. That's the definition of an attorney. An actor to a turn. What is the legal definition of an actor? It's someone who gets up on stage and lies convincingly enough to make you believe in the character and the plot. Yeah, somebody who lies convincingly enough. What does to a turn mean? It means to steal from one and turn over to another. So by the very definitions of their professions, they're liars and thieves. Let's bankrupt them all and make a pact, never hire an attorney for anything. You don't need it. Because it takes 3 signatures to steal your life. It takes the judges, the prosecutors, and your attorney or you. Your attorney or you. That means if you're in jail, it's because you signed a plea deal or your attorney signed your bond for you that put you in jail. So if you hired an attorney thinking he's going to protect you and get you out of jail, See, I've gone to federal courts where someone's actually been tried by a jury and found guilty of felonies, and I meet them right after their trial and before their sentencing, and we walk in and we nullify their trial and their sentencing. How do we do that? We fire their attorney. If you have an attorney, you are a ward of the state, a ward of the court, you're incompetent and unable to speak for yourself. How many of you want to be that? If you hire an attorney, you're incompetent. You're infirmed. You're a minor or a corporation. You are not a man or a woman. They cannot represent a man or a woman. Did you know that? It's against the law. It's against the law for any attorney to represent a man or a woman. They can only represent your entity, your person. You're incompetent, you're infirmed. It says that right in their laws. Who can an attorney represent? A minor, a corporation, a person, somebody incompetent, somebody infirmed. That's it. So you fire your attorney. You don't sign anything. And you make sure you are competent. Could be right, could be wrong. Competent. I've never been a good speller. Actually, when I sit down and think about it on the computer, I'm pretty good. But when I'm up here, I'm trying to think ahead of myself. So I get it wrong. If you are competent and you don't sign anything and you don't have an attorney, you can't go to jail. And you go home. Now, they can throw you in jail for contempt. In fact, they can throw you in jail for contempt 3 times. They can throw you in jail for contempt to try and force you to have an attorney. They can throw you in jail for contempt to try and force you into a plea deal. And they could throw you in jail for contempt to get a incompetency hearing. Now, the problem with incompetency, it's a two-edged sword for the court. So they believe me, they want you competent, except in the state of New York. They want you competent. In the state of New York, they want you incompetent because they make a lot of money off mental health facilities without even being sentenced, without a trial, without due process of law. they can put you in a mental health facility for a year. I just tell people to tell them, wait a minute, I went to a government-funded and controlled school system for 13 years, and I got a certificate of competency called a diploma. What do you mean I'm incompetent? I filed all these documents, sui juris on my behalf in this court. What do you mean I'm incompetent? I got this degree and that degree, and I've been a successful businessman. What do you mean I'm incompetent? And the judge goes, crap, I can't find him incompetent. So that's one of the easiest things to get around, is to make sure you're competent. So be competent, don't have an attorney and don't sign anything, don't go to jail. It's that simple. Even after you've been tried by a jury and found guilty, you'll stay out of jail. Saved a lady 20 years of her life for 4 felony counts of fraud. Gina Nilsson, I saved her 5 years of her life. Stephen in Utah, I forget his last name, he was going to go for life, and he didn't do anything. They manufactured his case, and he never spent a day in jail. Gina spent almost 90 days in jail, 87 days. Because in Utah, they can hold you in jail up to 30 days for contempt. Most states, it's like 72 hours. But in Utah, it can be up to 30 days at a time. So they hauled her to jail for 29 days to try and force her to have an attorney, to break her down, mentally and physically break her down so that she'd accept an attorney. And on the 29th day, they hauled her in for a hearing. And she said, no, I'm not going to have an attorney. They put her back in jail for contempt for 29 days to try and force her into a plea deal. And every time they walked in with a piece of paper to sign, she said, no, I'm not signing nothing. They threw her back. She went in for a hearing. They said, we're going to order a competency hearing. We're going to send a psychologist over to the jail. He walks through the door and she goes, you realize I have a degree in psychology, right? She goes, you realize I have 2 businesses that I run and operate. You do realize that I filed over 700 pages of documents in this court, right? He goes, you're competent. They hauled her back in for the hearing. It was over in 5 minutes, and she walked out and hugged her mother. I got a picture of it on my phone. She was already tried by a jury and found guilty. Okay. 3 sentencing hearings. 3. And she was thrown in jail for contempt at every sentencing hearing. Because they can do that to try and force you, to break you down mentally and physically.